Greetings to my fellow piece blunderers, and today's 5 ELO in 5 minutes topic is the absolutely terrible exchange sequences that all of you guys sometimes fall victim to. And let's face it, that mostly happens because your calculation was lazy at the dead sloth. And it's just so annoyingly easy sometimes to just, without noticing, switch to this stupid autopilot mode and end up in a situation where, for example, you look at this position, it's white to move, you're playing as white, and you're like, well, a lot of tension on f6, I don't know, just let's exchange everything, let's simplify, I don't know, takes, voila, it looks like a draw more or less, that's fine by me. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second, did you just literally go through six chess moves without considering any other possibilities? Like, are they really as forced as you think they are, those moves? Are you sure that this is the only way to go? And sometimes when you go through the motions, when you just don't pay too much attention, you just end up embarrassing yourself. Because if we look at this sequence again, for example, all right, takes, instead of takes, we can take that back, and then we can deliver mate one. Queen e1 check, bang. The queen doesn't have to take the rook. And there you go. Turns out chess punishes easy thinking, lazy thinking. Now, all right, sorry, I know I'm overreacting a little bit, and I'm being very, very mad, partly because of myself. I've made way too many mistakes in the last couple of games exactly in this department, so I am kind of making this video for myself as well, trying to heal my own wounds and stuff. And now let's look at some other positions which follow the same idea, but in slightly different ways, and try to explain them and break them down so we don't repeat the mistakes that I make and you make. Let's just all together make fewer mistakes, shall we? But just before we go into the next one, let's finish with this one. Okay, we saw the damage it did with queen e1 check leading to mate, sure, but why did this happen? Well, because we were looking at the sequence in only one way, we sometimes forget that the pieces that are parts of the sequence that we drew in our heads can actually leave the sequence and do the damage elsewhere. We were focusing too much on the f6 square where everything was happening. We completely forgot about the other part of the board. Just visually, right? Sometimes it can be very deceiving. We're hyper-focusing on one square or one area of the board. Pieces, a lot of pieces, also very congested in here. We may absolutely miss that, and we totally shouldn't. When we look at captures, look at other possibilities. The capture does not have to be followed by a recapture, capiche? Problem number 2 arises when a piece that just captured our material in this exchange sequence crucially gets onto a square from which it defends another piece in this exchange sequence. And it is most commonly seen with the knights, because the knights' movements are of course the trickiest of them all, and we don't always register them, do we? For example, in this position, a terrible mistake would be to play knight d4. Knight d4 absolutely hopes for the following exchange sequence. So knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, and queen takes, and it seems alright. We just took 4 pieces off the board in total, and for black it's decent. We simplified the position, equalized, whatever. But the more observant of you will see that this is not the way it will most likely go, if your opponent of course sees that. After knight d4, when knight takes, bishop takes, the queen does not have to take, because we failed to see after knight takes d4 it can hop back and take that bishop on e2, so knight takes instead, and we're just a piece down for nothing. Also, yes, knights are the most common examples of the situation, but even less tricky pieces such as bishops, for example, can do the same amount of damage. If we look at this position and move like queen e1, you think to yourself, well, it's a decent looking move, it develops our queen, gets it out of the corner, contests this queen that obviously looks very good, nice. If queen takes, then I'll just retake with the knight. Right, but it's a flawed pattern. Again, too lazy, forgetting about other moves. Why should queen take? Why is it the only move you're looking at? Because bishop easily takes on f3, and it's just a winning position for black, because when bishop takes, it also defends that queen. Queen takes, bishop takes, boom, black is up a piece. And, of course, Another situation, we can take that bishop, sure, but now our queen is hanging, the defender was removed, and we are down a queen for a piece, basically. And problem number 3, which is also very common with these miscalculated exchange sequences, is we don't look at checks. Checks of all moves. Checks are supposed to be the highest priority moves you look at because these are direct threats to your king. But sometimes even they get ignored. In this position, white plays c5, attacking the knight on b6. And white is probably thinking like, okay, so what's going to happen is bishop takes, I'm going to take that knight, bishop takes, king takes, pawn takes, and this looks drawish, right? We just exchanged 4 pieces and it's fine by me. And it is fine, but it's not going to go this way, especially when your king is on f2 exposed like that. You look at checks, because if bishop takes, you cannot actually take that knight because you get instantly punished with the check. Bishop c5 check, and your king suddenly finds itself in a very precarious position. Only these 2 squares are available, and it doesn't matter where you go. Let's say king e1, you just lose a bishop. Again, you're just down a piece for nothing. Absolutely. So what happens in the end is that, okay, if bishop takes and we don't take that knight, we are kind of forced to take that bishop, so, you know, we don't lose it. But then again, we can just easily take that pawn with check, and okay, black is not up a piece, but they're up a pawn, and this king again is no good. And generally speaking, yeah, c5 was just a terrible move. So the bottom line is exchange responsibly, or at least more responsibly than you do at drinking. Look at other moves, other variations, other branches, take them into account, or you'll end up getting mated, you end up getting demolished, humiliated, everything you can think of. Like, subscribe, follow my streams, find me on chess.com, join our Discord, all that good stuff. I'm going to see you in the next one. Love you. Bye-bye.